Good people, good people, good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 174. I'm Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving it a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of Jam House Instrument Care. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm sure we'll all be inspired by his story. Let's chop it up with Myron Smith Jr. Myron, how's it going, man?
Oh man, it's going pretty good. How about yourself?
Glad to hear that. And all is well on my end too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me. I really appreciate it.
And I really appreciate the invitation, man. Just thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir, no doubt. Of course, here to talk about all the great things you got going on in the entrepreneurial space, specifically with Jam House Instrument Care. But before we talk business, let's get to know the man behind the brand. Born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee. What was your upbringing like coming up in the Chat Town?
Oh man, like it was a typical upbringing of a 2000s kid, man. Like growing up in the 2000s, man. It's not a small town, but at the same time, you can pretty much get to know everybody. So it's one of those like once you get your name out there, that's a wrap. But for the most part, man, it was super dope. I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I grew up in the music scene, and that's what set the stage, for me doing what I'm doing right now.
Okay, sounds good, man. I've been to Chattanooga a few times in my life, man, and it definitely has like that small town feel. So I can only imagine growing up there. It sounds like you had a great village around you.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Of course, growing up in a quote unquote major city, I'm putting that in quotes for a reason. But it's like growing up in a major city, like in a state, like you have those obstacles to overcome, especially being a black male. There are all these stereotypes, that are already put on you. But it's a matter of, like you said, having that village around you, to make sure that you stay on that straight and narrow. And like the music scene, that's where I found it. Really for real. Like people sleep on Chattanooga as being a music town, but they're really finding out now that we ain't no just some little small little town that ain't got nothing going on.
Yes, sir. Let them know. Let them know Chat Town doing big things in the music scene. Hey, you educate me. I had no idea. When I think about Tennessee and music, my mind automatically goes to Nashville. But you say Chat Town got something to say, huh?
Oh yes, sir, man. Like it's a growing hip hop scene, man. Going down in Chattanooga, as well as a well established jazz scene. And so like you said, a lot of people when they think music in Tennessee, they automatically assume Nashville, and it's always and that's always funny to me because it's always these gross stereotypes of country artists and whatnot, and it's like
Mhm.
Tennessee just isn't, country. Like I said, we have a thriving hip hop scene as well as a thriving jazz scene. It's a matter of, can you get your foot in the door is all.
Mm. Yes, sir. That's good stuff, man. Appreciate you for educating us on what the music scene is like and just all the great things that's going on musically in Chat Town, man. Appreciate that.
Man, it's no problem. I mean, hey, I got to give a shout out, to the town, man. Like I know some really good guys and gals up there, that's really grinding it out, and that they're making a name for themselves as well as for the town. So got to put on for them.
Yes, sir. No doubt, man. I could just hear that passion and that excitement in your voice about your city, and that's how you should feel about your hometown, man. Like that's great that you speak about Chat Town with such passion and just excitement, man. And once again, appreciate you for giving me a little bit of your background. So you finish up high school, make your way down to the Gump to attend and graduate from the Alabama State University. What was the HBCU experience like for you?
Man, it was everything I thought it would be. Like for real, for real. Like I said, the high school that I went to was a predominantly black school. So like I already knew for a fact that I was going to a HBCU. Like there was no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was a matter of which one. And of course, ASU. I was pretty much, I'm not gonna say groomed to go to ASU, but I had a long time standing with the band staff at ASU from going to the summer band camps and whatnot since eighth grade. So it was pretty much ingrained for me to go to ASU. So like that experience of being on campus, getting that HBCU experience is like if you in the band, man, there is nothing like it, man. Like that experience right there pretty much sums up the HBCU experience. If you ever blessed enough, to be around the band, it's that is the HBCU experience.
Yes, sir. You said something there, man. Like just the band that is as a HBCU experience, man. Just being on the campus of the Alabama State University, being in that element, and that's great. You got a chance to attend a predominantly black school. So when you made that move down to the Gump to attend the Alabama State University, wasn't too much of a culture shock. And yeah, man, I never played in the band, never played in a band, period. But I just love ASU band, man. The Mighty Marching Hornets, the best band in the land, in my opinion. You know.
And I already know. And it's like, there's a whole bunch of folks out there, talking about, oh, ASU this, oh, ASU that. But the thing is, though, whenever that band show up, they already know what time it is. So it's like,
Yeah.
that brings me back to a quote that Dr. Oliver, has said to me my senior year. Because he actually came up to Chattanooga to audition on me and a few of my bandmates. And one of my classmates had asked, oh, do y'all know about Southern Wool? And Dr. Oliver just sat and he just said one thing. He was like, yeah, we know about them, but guess what? They know about us too, and they get ready every time we show up. And it's like I got a chance to actually see that firsthand. When we went down to Southern University in 2012, like it was a battle to the finish.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Hey, trust me. Like when it come down to it, they can say what they want to say about Alabama State this, Alabama State that. But when that fifth quarter come, we want all the smoke, and we ain't losing. They know what
I'm just
time it
like
is.
this. Yeah, man. I'm just like this. Like, people hate on state so much, but it's like if state's so bad, how come kids still coming? You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. No doubt. Yes, sir, man. That's great. So you got a chance to attend the HBCU as well as play in the band. So just that just that experience alone, getting a chance to travel and all that exposure. What was that like for you?
Man, it was virtually a dream come true because it's like, and I'm not trying to like sound dramatic when I say it, but it's like, kid from Chattanooga, Tennessee, is now getting a chance to travel the country and play in all these different venues as well as having your group featured on national TV. Man, that's a whole other experience. So it's like, quote unquote small town kid, getting the experience. And that's one of the things that when I was a band director, I would tell my kids this all the time, like just get out and get the experience because of the fact that you get to travel everywhere and you get to experience all these different places and not only the places, the people thereof. And of course, I always say, if you want a well-rounded, worldview, you got to actually get out there in the world and see what other people are doing, see what other musicians are doing. So that gave me that opportunity, to actually see what the music scene on a national level was talking about. I mean, and not only that, but I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. Like, not a lot of people can legitimately say that their group got to play with multi-platinum artists, and it actually got to shake these people's hands and ask them questions about the craft. And of course, that all came from our travels with being with the Mighty Marching Hornets.
Hmm. Yes, sir. Powerful stuff, man. Appreciate you for sharing that tidbit. And no, it's not dramatic at all, man. Like I said, I never played in the band, but I know how dope the Mighty Marching Hornet. I know how dope you all are, and I know just being as dope as the band is, y'all got a chance to travel. Y'all got a chance to get exposed to a lot of places. Just and I'm not talking about just traveling to different states for football games. Man, the band is just featured on top tier events. Like man, like the band the battle of the bands and all the stuff outside of football, man. So I appreciate you for just sharing that. So if there is a city you could think of, so what's one place you got a chance to go to with the band? Like what's one city that had you mind blown when you arrived there that the band afforded you the opportunity to visit?
Man, for real, Detroit, Michigan. and again, like I said, not trying to sound dramatic, but being from the South, it's like being from the South, you primarily only hear about certain cities. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody talks about Atlanta, everybody talks about Birmingham, everybody talks about New Orleans. But me personally, like, like outside of that, I've never traveled up north before. Like, as far north as I've traveled was Ohio. So being able, to actually, see, you know, one of the most historic cities, in the country. You know what I'm saying? And of course, like me being, I'm a car guy, so it's like I love cars. So like being in the place where the motor industry dominated, like that was a cool experience for me. And not only that, but it was getting a chance, to drive 8 Mile. And again, I'm a hip hop head. So it's like, getting a chance, to drive down 8 Mile and, and like see what's actually up. You know what I'm saying? And so like that was one of the dopest experiences for me.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Motown, man, Detroit, man. That's amazing. You got a chance to get that exposure through the band, and that's what it's all about, man. Like college, especially going to an HBCU, man. Like the thing I love the most about going to an HBCU was getting a chance to meet people who look like you and I from all over the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, the South, of course, the
Amen.
islands,
Amen.
Canada. Yeah, man. Like, and we just came together on South Jackson Street, created lifelong memories and relationships, you know?
Oh yeah, man. Like to this day, man, there are relationships that I cherish. Like, and it comes from like when, like you said, when you get to college, when you get on campus, it's like some of the people, like some people that you thought that you would have never became friends with. Like if you were still, in the hometown or wherever the case may be. And it's like, you get to meet different types of folks. And like I said before, you get to expand your worldview because you're now dealing with folks that have completely different viewpoints than what you may have, from your hometown. Just like one of the biggest culture shocks for me was like, just the lingo, because like certain words that we say in Chattanooga, it has a completely different meaning and a completely different connotation down here in Montgomery. So, I got a chance to learn that a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And again, that's what it's about. Like you saying, just those relationships that you cherish and in those relationships, you learn those different cultural differences. Like you said, just certain words. Like I'm from Montgomery. Like it's certain words in Montgomery, it means a completely different thing in Cali or New York or the Midwest. So that's why college is just so dope. Like to your point, man, just getting a chance to build those relationships, those lifelong relationships, and I have those relationships myself that I cherish to this day. So I appreciate you for sharing a little bit of your background and just what the HBCU experience like was for you.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Yes, sir. So present day, you are the founder, the owner of Jam House Instrument Care. What you got going on over there?
Sir. Oh man, so Jam House Instrument Care. Okay, so before I actually, explain, what I got going on, I actually got to explain, what Jam House Instrument Care is, and if that's okay.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
Okay, so Jam House Instrument Care is essentially a company that I started to support the band programs within the state of Alabama. So so what we offer essentially is instrument repair services as well as acquisition. So let's just say theoretically, if your band program needs instruments, right? But you're working on a limited budget, unfortunately, unlike like most schools in the state of Alabama. Let's go ahead and just keep it real for a second. So when you're dealing with a limited budget and you need instruments or you need repairs, a lot of your larger companies won't want to deal with you, and or that they're going to want an astrological amount of money up front. And it's like I know some of these programs can't afford that. So that's where I come in. So I just say theoretically, you have instruments that have been sitting for a while. They haven't been touched. They haven't been played. They may grow gunk and all this other good stuff in it. That's where I come in. A lot of companies won't want to deal with them because of the fact that they're so messy, they're so dirty, whatever the case may be. Well, I take on those jobs that the big guys don't want to take on.
Mm.
Also, we developed a line of care products, for your instrument, that'll keep them cleaner, that keep them cleaner longer. And then the second half of what we do with Jam House is that we teach clinics on how to properly care for instruments and or how to do instrument repair in a pinch.
Man, that's amazing stuff y'all got going over there at Jam House Instrument Care, man. And just hearing you talk about it again with that passion, like I could tell, like this is something that you really love doing, and you were able to identify a problem and you were able to come with a solution. So I appreciate you for just giving us some background of Jam House Instrument Care.
Oh yeah, man. Like it's everything that we do here with Jam House, come with the experience of me actually being in the classroom and being a band director. So I like to whenever I visit new customers, I always like to say I try to be the assistant band director that every band director needs for the cheap. So it's like all the problems that I end up coming in and fixing are problems that I've run into in the classroom. So I have a unique vantage point on how to solve some of these problems.
Yes, sir. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, you got that on the job training that you're doing as a band director, and then now you're getting a chance to help people solve those same problems. Like that's what it's all about. Like identifying problems and solving problems. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's how you really making big in business. Like you solve a lot of problems and you become that go-to person. And like you said earlier, the work that the quote unquote big guys don't want, that's just ample opportunity for guys like yourself, for Jam House Instrument Care to come in and really make a difference and really solve a lot of problems.
Exactly, man. Like, and plus, like, I'm looking at it. I'm also looking at it like this. Unfortunately, when it comes to instrument repair techs, right? There aren't a lot of programs within the state of Alabama that actually certifies techs. So, unfortunately, there is a severe need, for repair techs within the state of Alabama. So the I would say like one of the drawbacks about getting a music degree is the fact that this stuff is the stuff that they don't teach you. They don't teach you, how to overcome, X amount of problems with the instrument. They teach you how to play them, but they don't teach you how to fix them. So a lot of directors, that they get into the classroom and they just straight up don't know what to do when the instrument breaks outside of the instrument that they actually play. So me being a trumpet player, of course, I can diagnose what's going on with a trumpet just like that. But what about clarinets? What about saxophones and stuff like that? They don't really cross train you like that. So a lot of this stuff I ended up having to pick up out of necessity. Because, like I said, the very first program that I took over, we didn't have a lot of money, for repairs. So that on the job training had to happen. So it was like, it was either I learned this skill or my kids don't perform. And I was not about to have the latter. Like that was a non-negotiable for me. My kids had to perform. So I had to get in there, do those repairs myself.
Mm. Hey, I love to hear it, man. Like Myron, like I'm the exact same way. Like as it relates to when you see there's a problem needs to be solved, you get right into action mode. Yes, you didn't. Yes, the clarinet and there was a learning curve and repairing all those other instruments. But the only way you're gonna learn is if you got in there and you were terrible at first, but eventually you figured out how to get good at repairing all those instruments, man. I love to hear those type of stories everything because a lot of times, and I commend you for even being willing to step into that and work on instruments you necessarily weren't familiar with working on because you could have easily said, well, I know this instrument, so this all I'm going to master and focus on knowing how to fix. But you said something key. You were looking at the bigger picture. You said, hey, if I don't learn how to do this, my kids can't perform, and you that was a non-negotiable. That's powerful, man.
Oh yeah, man. Plus, it's like I also look at it, in the sense of being okay. So as a band director, being marketable, right? So that's one of those areas that we don't really emphasize, within going into being a band director. What we talk about is mostly knowing the music, knowing how to teach the music. Okay, that's cool, that's fine and dandy. Like if you are as good as a teacher as you say you are, you should be able to do those two basic things, right? But being marketable, as a band director goes way beyond that, right? So it's about what value are you going to be bringing to your administrators, when they sign you on, right? So it's like if I can amass skills that's gonna help me save my program money. Let's go ahead and stop right there. If you can save your administrators money, boom, they love you already, right? So if I don't have to outsource, take sending instruments off to a company to get fixed, if I can do all that stuff in house, that helps my operational budget. So that means that we can travel more. That means we can buy new instruments if need be. That means that we can buy updated literature if need. But that's one expense that we don't have to worry about.
Hmm. Yes, sir. Spot on. I completely understand where you're coming from. That's spot on, man. Just always, again, like you're just a problem solver, man. Just sounds like you're always into solving those problems, man. Saving the administration some money, so there's some wiggle room to travel, like you were just saying. So that's good, man. Just having that awareness and having that willingness to take action. So I got to ask you, Myron, what inspired that name, Jam House Instrument Care?
Man, I'm glad you asked that question. So, Jam House is actually an acronym, okay? So, it's the first initial of my stepson's name, my wife's name, and my name. So, so stepson's name is Jacob. My wife's name is Amber, and of course, I'm Myron. So, boom, that's Jam. So it's like my wife is also a musician, so it was like we be jamming. That's where that came from. And then of course, we're all living up under the same roof, in this house, and we both run our businesses out of our house. So it's the Jam House.
I like that, man. I love to hear stories behind brand names, man, and just hearing the story behind the name of your brand, the name of your company, man. So dope. And it's organic and it's the initials of your stepson, your wife, and yourself. And man, I appreciate you for sharing that.
Yeah, man, because like at the end of the day, you know, I wanted to create something that could stand alone without having my name on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have a lot of companies that only thrive because of they have a big name behind it. But it's like I want my product, I want my service to stand alone, whether you know me or not, right? I want you to know my service, and I want you to know the product that I'm presenting. So I don't have to put Myron Smith on it or whatever the case may be. I don't want to put Myron Smith on it because at the end of the day, it's not about me, right? So I'm doing this for my family, So it's to leave a legacy, for my family, to carry on. If they so choose, to want to carry on Jam House, but it's there for them. And then of course, for our stepson, it's for him. So that's why his name comes first.
Yes, sir. Legacy, man. That's what I hear and all that you just said, man. Just that legacy, man. And I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like, hey, you want the brand to be able to stand on its own without a big name or your name behind it, man. It makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah. Plus, like I said, like okay, so my business is pretty much kicked off from the relationships that I built while being a band director. Like my first couple clients were former coworkers, from Jefferson County. So I'm not real, like I said, like if you know me and you want to deal with my company, that's cool. Like I encourage you, I want you, you know what I'm saying? But I really want to reach the people that I don't know yet. Like I said, I want my product to stand above your arts music. I want my product and service to stand above your gas and music companies and whatnot. So I want my company to be in that same conversation when you talk about the big guys. But the thing is, when you talk about the big guys, you don't know their founders, you don't know their CEOs, but you know their product. I'm trying to build something that is going to be on that same keel, but black owned.
Yes, sir. No doubt, man. Powerful stuff. Powerful. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to talk about three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. Take us back to your aha moment when you first had the idea to take your love for music and instrument repair and turn it into a business.
So that actually goes back to the pandemic, 2020. Um, I was I'm not I'm not gonna put anybody on blast or nothing like that, but I was working at a school that I wasn't really happy at. Um, didn't have any resources to work with. My class schedule was messed up, so I couldn't really build the band program the way that I wanted to. So that led me, to looking for fulfillment in another way, and of course that was teaching privately. So I started doing private lessons virtually and this that, and that's where the idea to start a business even came from. So without that proverbial aha moment of, well, I can do everything that I've been doing in the classroom, but do it on my own terms. That was the big aha for me, especially after getting Google Classroom certified and whatnot. So I can work Google Classroom like the back of my hand. So I can do private lessons, from the comfort of my own home if need be. At one point, like I said, I had students in Chicago, I had students in LA, I had students in Houston. I currently have a student in South Carolina, and I have one in Philadelphia. So that gave me, the audaciousness to be like, you know what? I can do this on my own. I don't necessarily, need, to be in a classroom, to be effective.
Yes, sir. That's powerful, man. And hearing you talk about just that time during the pandemic and just being working for a school system or working in a situation that you weren't necessarily the happiest with, and out of that situation, you figured, hey, I could do what I do in the classroom for myself, and like that's great, man. Like that's a great aha moment. And sometimes aha moments come out of they don't always come out of situations where things all fine and dandy. A lot of times we have aha moments in those times where things aren't necessarily going our way, man. Thank you for sharing your aha moment.
Oh yeah, of course, man. If I can share that and inspire anybody, to follow a passion, that's the real goal here. Because it's like we're living we're living in an age now to whereas you don't necessarily need a quote unquote traditional 9 to 5 to make a living. There's too many opportunities out here, on the internet. You can legitimately make that living off of the internet. You can start that business. You can follow that passion. And it's something that I always go back to, as a quote by Alan Watts, where he has said, if you find something that you're truly passionate in, that you truly believe in, I would say do that and forget about the money. Because if you follow your passion, there are always going to be other people that are interested in the same things that you are. So therefore, if you spend your life trying to quote unquote get the money, you're always going to be miserable, and you're going to spend your life in a miserable way. So it's better to live a short life doing all the things that you want to do versus living a long life doing all the things that you don't want. So whatever your passion is, just go do it.
Mm. Man, that's a bar right there. You dropping gems on them, Myron. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like, hey, this is exactly what I want you to come with. I want you to come with that fire, man. You coming with them gems, man. That's powerful, man. Like just finding what you love, what you're passionate about, and just doing it. And that's so true. And it's so unfortunate that a lot of people just won't ever take that first step. And I'm not judging them because, like I told you offline, like it took me 6 years to take that first step. But once you take that first step, you start to realize it wasn't as bad as you thought it was gonna be. And I mean, honestly, it's something that you can look back at the end of your life when you're 95 years old. You can look back and say, "Man, I'm so glad I started that company. I'm so glad I started that podcast." Like for me, Myron, it's all about being able to when I'm in my final moments, man, when I'm 95 years old, I don't want to have any regret.
Man, same here. Like, I me and my wife have this conversation all the time where I'm like, I purposefully put myself in situations to whereas I can have a cool story to tell later on. Like, so it's like just like I said earlier, man, just go do it because it's like man, you never know, what could come of it. So let's just say theoretically, you take that first step and it don't work. Okay, that's the absolute worst that can happen is that it just didn't work. But the thing is, that doesn't mean that you failed because if you're doing it correctly, even in the quote unquote failure, there's lessons in it. There's information in it, there's jewels in it. You have to have the wherewithal about yourself, to see that, to see those lessons and then learn from them and then come back and try it again. But it's that comfort zone, man. Like comfort is the enemy of all progress. So sometimes you gotta be like, you know what, this don't make no sense, but I'm too comfortable right now. So therefore, can't nothing, extraordinary happen right now. So you got to put yourself in that position to have a cool story to tell later on, because who knows? That cool story could be, the proverbial breakthrough moment that everything actually popped off for you. But if you just leave those skills, leave those talents, leave those passions just rotting on the vine, it's not doing you any good. It's not doing your family any good. And quite frankly, I'm a I'm a spiritual person. It's like if God gives you these gifts, it's a slap in his face for you not to do it, and for you to always doubt, what he has for you. Man, just do it.
Yes, sir. That's powerful, man. I'm spiritual myself, Myron. So I'm tapped in with God and praying and meditating every day, man. Like that's how I start my day. And yeah, man, I had to I had to realize that as well, like just in terms of the thing that really kicked me into gear and hopefully people that are listening, man, hopefully it'll kick them into gear is imagine somebody imagine you having a gift, you having an idea, imagine not doing it. Somebody come along and they actually execute on that exact idea that you had, but you was too afraid to make that first step. That's what really got me in the gear too. I say, you know what? I do not want nobody else to come up with the Gumtown podcast. I'm gonna be sick to my stomach. So so I had to make a move.
Oh, but
So
I definitely understand that.
yeah, yes, sir, no doubt, man. So I appreciate you for sharing those gems and just that tidbit. So that next portion, action. After you had your initial aha moment, how long did it take you to take action towards coming up with a name, getting the LLC, and getting all the business stuff legitimate?
It took me about 2 years or so, because I was too enthralled with staying in the classroom because it was if well, let's go ahead and call it for what it is, man. It was fear because it was, there were certain things that I was trying to do, and it was just like I know for a fact that if I didn't have that full time steady income, that things may fall apart or whatever the case may be, or I was gonna feel like a failure if things didn't go the way that I wanted them to go. But so it was the matter of seeing a lot of seeing a lot of folks generally unhappy within the field of education and saying all the things that they would be doing if they were in the classroom. So me personally, I got really tired of listening to all the what I would have done, what I could have done, what I should have done, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna be one of them. I'm gonna go do it. Like whatever happens, at the end of the day, if like I was telling my wife again, like I was telling my wife earlier, if Jam House went away today, right, I would still be happy because of the fact that I did it, and like my product is in it is in different band rooms across the state of Alabama and whatnot. So the name is already out there. So now it's the matter of just like I said, having the faith and just riding this thing on out. But if it went away today, like I said, I'm still cool with that, So
Mm.
the action came from me just seeing everybody else talk about everything that they want to do and not putting any action behind it and seeing how unhappy they were.
Mm. Yes, sir. That makes a lot of sense, man. And 2 years, not a long time at all, man. 2 years fly by like 2 months. So, I mean, the most important thing is, hey, you had the idea, you acted on it, and here we are, Jam House, Instrument Care, still rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah, and quite frankly, hopefully it's gonna still be going. Within the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Like I said, this is a long term investment.
Yes, sir. No doubt. That last portion, audacity. It's one thing to have an idea, an aha moment. It's another thing to put action behind the idea. But to put it out to the world to be praised or criticized, that's where the audacity comes in my opinion. Who or what gave you that courage, that audacity to put Jam House Instrument Care out to the world?
My father, Myron Smith Sr., um, he was a long haul truck driver, his whole career. He's still truck driving, but he always put in me, growing up, that pursue your dreams no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much out there, but you never know what's for you if you don't try, if you don't go for it. So it's like, if you fall on your face, that's cool. There's a lesson in it. But seeing my father, start his own trucking company, and being a part of that, it gave me that inspiration to say, you know what, I've seen it done before in my family. If I've seen it done, that means I can do it too. And it's like, also having my dad, in my life, just this morning, we were talking business, like I was asking him advice on, on like what my next steps should be, as far as growing the business, or getting contracts and things of that nature. But having my dad, always saying, man, just do it, just do that. I don't care what you do, just do it. Like, he gave me, that audacious spirit. So here we are. So my dad inspired me to do it and whatnot, and it's my goal that one day that me and him will be able to work together on this project. So he keeps me going. As also my wife, man, it's like, again, seeing her start her business, it gave me that extra push, to do it. So she's a vocalist as well as a pastry chef. So she has her work criticized literally on a daily basis. So it's like she gives me that motivation and that strength, to keep doing what I'm doing and keep putting out material, be it, clips of me practicing my trumpet, again, just giving it to the world, to be criticized, and as well as doing cold calls, popping up at at some of these schools unannounced. Yeah, I do cold call. It is what it is. But just having like having that strength to go do it. All that all comes from my family.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. I appreciate you for sharing that, and salute to your dad and your wife and your family just overall, man. It just goes back to what I was talking about earlier, just in terms of it taking a village. It takes a village at all levels in life, when you're a child and when you're an adult. And it just sounds like you got a great village around you that's instilling that's have instilled that audacious spirit that you still carry with you to this day. Powerful.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. But my family always say, we Smiths, we don't quit. So there it is. Like, I have virtually no choice but to succeed. You know what I'm saying? And of course, success is whatever you make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're always comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing or has done, you're never going to be happy with what you're doing, because comparison is the thief of all joy. So it's like, I'm not worried about competitors. I'm not worried about, I'm not worried about anybody else that's in this space that's trying to do what I'm doing, or whatever the case may be. If you're trying to do what I'm doing, I want to help you. You know what I'm saying? Because we all succeed together. So it's like, that's how it is within the band directing community and whatnot, having that village. Because again, we all succeed. We all succeed when we all help. So that's how I look at it, man. Like, surround yourself with good people, with real folk, not no folk, that's gonna tell you, oh, everything looks good, knowing good and well that it's a mess. Like, you need real honest folks around you, to let when your crap stink. So village.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt, man. Everything you just said is spot on, and that's so true. Especially just that comparison thing, man. Like, the one thing about it, no matter what space you in, man, whether it's podcasting, instrument care like yourself, whether you pace yourself like your wife, like the one thing about comparison, it is the thief of of joy. I agree wholeheartedly. But the thing about it is, there's no need. I don't feel the need to compare myself to anybody because we all have different perspectives. So our product is going to all be different. We all have our own razzle dazzle that we put on our given podcast or in our instrument care business or our pastry. So comparison is a waste of time because no two businesses are just alike. You know.
Yeah, man, that right there is spot on. So that goes back to the quote from earlier. Um, whatever you're interested in, you're gonna find other people that are interested as well. And then that goes back to the rule of 10, out of 10 folk, right? Four people are gonna love everything you do just because it's you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your base. Then there's gonna be four people who aren't really gonna, they're not gonna like, what you do just because it's you. And then the rest of them, they just don't care. So why spend all that time, energy, and effort worried about the folks that aren't gonna rock with you no matter what you do because they're committed to misunderstanding you and spending all that time, trying to convince people to care that don't care, right? Just focus on your base, like focus on those ones that want to love you, that love you regardless of what you do. So it's like when you lean into that base, everything else falls in place.
Bars, more gems for your head top, good people. More gems, man. Myron, keep dropping them gems. So appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. That's all powerful stuff. So you've done great things with the business. I know great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, vision. What are your short term and long term goals for the business you feel comfortable sharing?
Oh yeah, man. Short term, I really want to get my name out there a little bit better with the clinics. When I say that, I mean being able to teach more classes about instrument repair. Because, like I said, and we're just gonna just keep it a whole buck right quick. You know, Unfortunately, band programs that look predominantly like us, we're the ones that suffer the most when it comes to not being able to have instruments repaired, and that affects not only. I can get into the physics right now, but it is not going to only going to affect how that band actually sounds, but it's going to affect the overall morale of the band, right? So when I was teaching in Butler County, we had got third hand, fourth hand instruments that have been passed down from I don't know how many schools and whatnot. Like the one of the serial numbers dated back to 1920, right? And this is in 2018, right? So we're playing on horns that old, and I saw how it affected the morale of the group. No one wants to play on broken old instruments and whatnot that have mold growing out of them. Nobody wants to do that. But telling these kids, oh, you have to do this, otherwise you can't perform, that's a morale thing. And then of course, seeing how that morale boosts after they get new instruments or after they get their old instruments repaired and back up to working condition. Like that affects the overall sound of the group. So if I can put this information in as many of band directors' hands as possible, man, that's the short term goal right now. With the long term goal being my instrument care products take off to the point to whereas they're getting national recognition, to whereas your Alabama states, your Marching Hornets, are using Jam House instrument care products, to whereas, like I said, your Southern, your University of Alabama, that's my overall goal, to get my products in as many band rooms as possible, as well as sharing that knowledge.
Yes, sir. Powerful goals, both short term and long term. And I have no doubt you'll make them all come to fruition.
Hey man, I greatly appreciate.
Yes.
Unfortunately, man, it's like we don't. We as a country, like we have just taken all of the value out of music education. To the point to whereas a lot of programs are dying. So if I can put my hand in it to whereas I can help keep a program alive, man, that's all the thanks, recognition, all that's all I need. You know what I'm saying? Like that's legacy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly. So you So as we wrap up the podcast, I want to ask $1 million question, Myron. I started this podcast because I wanted to highlight the greatness connected to the city of Montgomery. Whether you were born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college, military, or work, you come into Montgomery to attend and graduate from the Alabama State University. I want to ask you, Myron, what do you appreciate the most about the city of Montgomery?
So I'm just going to just keep it all honest right here, man. Like I appreciate the most about Montgomery is how open and how welcoming the city was. Like it's definitely being from a different being from a different town, and it's like having to start completely over. Where you don't know anybody like that. You're starting over. Like having people embrace you, and welcome you in. Like that really grew my appreciation, for Montgomery, as well as, like I said, I got my business started here in Montgomery. That are friends of mine, and the biggest thing is my teaching career started here in Montgomery. While I was a senior at ASU, my very first teaching gig was at Maxwell Air Force Base Middle School. They didn't have a band director, so they they needed somebody to come in, help teach and whatnot, and I was that somebody. So that one semester long gig turned into a 10-year love affair with music education. So this is where I got my start, in this business. So I love Montgomery for that, and I greatly appreciate everything that Montgomery has done for me and my family. And not only that, last but not least, man, it gave me the most beautiful wife that I can ever imagine. So you know what I'm saying? So I gotta thank Montgomery for that.
Hey, let them know, man. Let them know. Hey, salute to you, man. Gotta let them know, man. That's all right,
Man,
man. I
I
appreciate you.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for just sharing just the overall background of Montgomery, man. Great background, great conversation. So, how can people connect with you? What are your social media handles and website?
You can find me on Facebook, Myron Smith. Just type in that search bar, you'll find me. Ain't a lot of Myron Smiths on there. My business page is Myron the Band Man. So if you go to Facebook, type in a search bar, Myron the Band Man. There you go. Also, you can find my Jam House page on Facebook. That'll be Jam House Instrument Care. Again, that's where you can find me.
Okay, too easy. And of course, I'll be sure to put all the information in the episode or description of the episode. Hey, Myron, thanks again for the conversation, man. I really appreciate it.
Man, thanks for having me on. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come on and essentially nerd out about all the things that we got going on with Jam House. So again, man, I really do thank you, and I appreciate what you're doing for the city of Montgomery.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Gone.